Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and you can find more information about me on my blog at stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. We are going to be working with the Hello Harvest stamp set and the Cottage Wreaths bundle. We're also going to be working with the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper. And we're going to be playing with the black and white patterns in this video today. I'm going to be adding pops of color, both with the Stampin' Blends and just by adding some strips of cardstock. I wanted to do a Halloween version of the card and a fall version of the card, and I didn't quite make it in time for my live, so we'll finish the fall cards together at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. If you are interested in all of these crafty tutorials, I would love it if you would subscribe. I also want to give a shout out to my email list. If you aren't already on my email list, there is a link in the description below. That is the first place where I announce classes, events, new product launches, catalogs, things like that. I also will do previews of my weekly Facebook Lives. So you can get the link down in the description below if you are interested in that. So we are going to be recreating these cards. I actually do a variation on the fall card in the end. Now, just a quick shout out that the Rings of Love Designer Series paper, which is a Sale-a-Bration item, it had sold out, but they actually brought it back. This is very unusual, but I'm excited to say that Rings of Love is back. So I just wanted to give that a shout out. If that was something that you wanted to get, they were able to get some back in stock. If you are not familiar with Sale-a-Bration, it is still going on. It is a promotion that Stampin' Up is running, where if you spend $50 or $100 before tax in the month of August, you can actually earn free rewards from something that we call a Sale-a-Bration brochure. And you can view those things online, or if you have the brochure at home, you could use that. But they recently announced additional Sale-a-Bration items, and I'm going to put a picture up on the screen here so that you can see the new items that have been added. This information is also on my blog and on my Facebook page. I will have a link in the description box below with all of the information that you can click to get to my blog and see the updated Sale-a-Bration items. A lot of very great choices there. I particularly love that they added the brush Metella cardstock and the silver foil cardstock, but really fabulous embossing folders that you could choose from, a die set, so definitely worth checking out. So again, Sale-a-Bration ends on August 31st. So just wanted to shout that out. This is a great time to shop and get free rewards while you shop. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so we are going to get into working on our cards now, but just a quick shout out to the Leaf and Amber combo pack, which I personally think is a must-have if you're going to be making fall projects, but we're going to be incorporating some of those as well in the fall cards towards the end of the video. Now we are going to start with the Halloween card first. So what I am using is the Rustic Harvest paper. One side is the fall side paper and the other side are these black and white patterns. I am drawn to stripes, so that was why I went for this pattern. And I am taking the pumpkin pie cardstock. I cut it to 3/8 of an inch, and I am going to add the strips in between the stripes, basically. I'm just using my multi-purpose glue for this. And what I like to do, I know that a lot of times, you can actually just cut out all the strips, glue everything down, and then trim everything off at once. Just kind of do the trim in one pass. I tend to do it this way, where I'm kind of building it as I go. When I trim off one edge, then I'll line it up and I'll cut, and I'll just keep trimming as I go. So that is sort of my process for this. And I did a pattern of like 2 strips of pumpkin pie and then a white strip, and then 2 more strips of pumpkin pie and then a white strip, and so on. So you could decide what the best pattern is for you. And of course you could do multicolor patterns, which would be a lot of fun with this as well, especially if you want to do a color combination. So if you happen to see the last video that I did using the baby wipe technique, the color combination that I did there was Cajun Craze, Pumpkin Pie, crushed curry, and old olive. Those would be fantastic to use as a variety on the striped paper, just like this one. So I'm just using my scissors and trimming as I go. And you know, you could do every single stripe if you want to, but I really like the way that this looked. And while I am building up this panel, let me talk a little bit about the Making Plans collection. The other promotion that is happening during Sale-a-Bration is the starter kit special. So if you are interested in joining Stampin' Up during Sale-a-Bration, you can actually get the Making Plans collection for free. The Making Plans collection is a fantastic planner. It is 18 months and it runs to the end of December 2023. There is a stamp set that you can use on your planner, but you could also use it with anything else that you use. And then there are 3 notebooks, inserts, stickers, dividers, all of that lovely stuff to help you get organized for the rest of this year and then all of next year. And regardless as to whether that is for, you know, your personal use, personal planning, or if you are interested in having a little Stampin' Up business, it can help you get organized for your business. And one thing to keep in mind, one thing that I've been mentioning is that if you're planning on spending more than $99 over the next few months, investing in your craft products so that you can make all of your holiday cards and your birthday cards and all of those special occasions, this is really an option to consider because it is the best value. So one thing with the starter kit is that you actually get to choose the products that you put into it. So if you have a wish list, that's a great time. You choose up to $125 in product, but you only pay $99 before tax. You get free shipping on the starter kit, plus that Making Plans collection, which is a fantastic savings. That is going to be such a fun package to come to your door. And if you have any questions about joining or the starter kit, I would be happy to talk to you about that. You can either direct message me on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email me. All of my contact information is in the description box below, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. But this is such a wonderful time to, you know, if you want to join for the hobby and just for the discount, once you become a demonstrator, you actually get 20% off your purchases, and it could potentially go up to 25%. So it is just a fantastic deal. You would also get first access to seeing new products, catalogs. You would also get to be able to pre-order new product launches. And demonstrators are actually in a pre-order right now for something called the Perfect Partners promotion, which is coming up in September. And I'll put a picture of that up on the screen too, so that you can get a look at what that is, because that will be available to customers starting September 1st. But if you're interested in that starter kit, you can actually put pre-order items in your starter kit right now. And that is one of the immediate perks of becoming a demonstrator. And you do not have to sell if you do not want to. It is entirely up to you. And if you want to go back to being a customer, you can do that too. Okay, so let me go ahead and get back into the card at this point. So this is a 2-step stamp that we're going to be doing for our wreath here. I stamped the branch wreath in Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and now I'm coming back in with pumpkin pie, and I'm using the leafy wreath stamp just to layer directly over top of it. And there are coordinating dies with the cottage wreath bundle where you can either cut out the outline of our stamped wreath, which is what I'm going to do with this card, but you can also cut out die cut wreaths without having to do any stamping. So it's entirely up to you. And then I am going to be stamping this fabulous pumpkin, great size pumpkin from the Hello Harvest stamp set 3 times, also in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I forgot to buy the Rustic dies, the Rustic pumpkin dies, or what, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but it's part of the Hello Harvest bundle. So you do not have to fussy cut the pumpkins. I will be fussy cutting them because my dies are they're in the process of getting here, but they are not here yet, and I will not be here over the weekend. So Anyway, I'm fussy cutting, but you do not have to. There is a coordinating die for this pumpkin is the point. So here you're going to see me fussy cutting just very quickly. And then we're actually going to stamp our sentiment and our spider directly onto our pumpkin, also in Memento Tuxedo black ink. So there is a sentiment that says boo, and then a spider also as part of the Cottage Wreaths bundle, because it is like it's a multi-season set. And I just stamped it directly onto one of our pumpkins. The other thing I'm going to be adding to our pumpkins is just a touch of Stampin' Blends in Basic Black Light on the stem. Now, in my original card that you're seeing off to the side there, I actually used Basic Black Dark on the stems, and if you like that really dark pop of color, then go ahead and use the Basic Black Dark. I couldn't see any of the details from the stamp because the color was so dark, so I decided to go down to the light Basic Black, and I actually like that better. So you'll get to see both versions at the end, but just something that I wanted to mention there. I really wanted to be able to see the artwork in the stem, but I still wanted it to stand out as a stem on the pumpkin, so that was why I chose that color. So I'm using my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut out my dies here. There's a few different things we're going to cut out. First, we're going to cut out the wreath, and then we're going to cut some branches. They're like leafy branches, and I'm just showing it right there, and the Basic Black cardstock. And you're going to need 5 of those. You could use more or less, just depending on how, detailed you want your wreath to look. You can even just leave it at the stamping if you want, but I just thought it was a fun element, kind of add some texture there, right? And I really wanted to do a fall version of this card, and I didn't have time. So if you guys make a fall version, I would love to see your cards. Just, shout me out or send me an email, and I can go ahead and like and check your post, because I think that would just be so cool. So I'm just doing a couple of passes of these branches here so that I could get 5 pieces of this. And obviously these are going to fit really nicely in the mini. So you don't need to have your full size machine for this particular project. And that would also be true for the pumpkin, and then also for the banner die that we would use in the end. And again, I had to fussy cut, but there is a coordinating die for that piece as well. And you'll see that coming up with our next card. But this was a really fun card to make. And one of the things about the fall collection that they came out with this year, as beautiful as it is, I really like to see pumpkin pie in that. And I'm referring to the Rustic Harvest Suite. So I just decided to add in my own pops of pumpkin pie. And of course, if you got the Gingham Cottage Suite, there's tons of pumpkin pie that you can play around with the gingham paper. But I wanted to play with the rustic paper tonight, so that is what we ended up doing. So now I'm going to make my card bases. This is just a piece of basic white cardstock. I scored it at 5.5, and now I'm cutting at 4.25. This is going to be one of those cards that opens from, the bottom to the top instead of from side to side. And I'm just using my bone folder to kind of get that nice and crisp. Now this pattern here is like an acorn leaf pattern, and there was just something about the artwork that to me I felt like it was a little bit more towards the Halloween side. I was saying on my live that it just reminded me it just looked like an X-ray to me for some reason, just the way that the artwork was. So I'm going to do 2 pumpkins side by side flat against the card, and the third pumpkin with our actual sentiment on it is going to go up on dimensionals in the center of the other 2 pumpkins. So here I'm adding that basic black light with my Stampin' Blends. no special coloring whatsoever, just a little tiny bit of color just to show the contrast in that with the pumpkin. And the other thing is that if you want to draw faces on those pumpkins for a more Halloween look, you know, I think that that would be fantastic. Or if you happen to have past stamp sets that have those face, you know, stamps, that would be really cute on these pumpkins in this set. So, you know, definitely keep this in mind for Halloween just as much as you would use it for fall. And it was so funny because when I started putting those dimensionals on, I could see like a pumpkin face. So I don't know if that's just me or if you guys see it too. And now we're going to start adding in those branches. And my friend Roberta, she reminded me that if we use the silicone mat with some glue and maybe like an old sponge or something like that, you can sponge the glue onto these delicate pieces. So I always recommend adhesive sheets, but if you don't have those to turn your little dies into stickers or your detail dies into stickers, you can try doing this. I hardly ever do this, but she has mentioned it to me several times, and I was like, you know what? I know she's right. So let me go ahead and try that technique. So that was what I did here. I know other demonstrators do it. It's just not a go-to thing for me, but it was so fast. It was so much faster than the way I typically do that. So I'll definitely keep that in mind to do that more often in the future because I am working with a lot of detail pieces in my cards. I just like the detail elements for my cards, and I tend to do layer upon layer upon layer. It's just my style. And then I wanted to finish with the Festive pearls in silver. My son Connor got into the pearls, and that's why they look a little bit zigzaggy there. And I kind of salvaged them and put them back on the adhesive. So here, you know, if you see them looking a little bit odd in pattern, it was just because he got a hold of them. He loves the embellishments. He loves the die cuts and things like that. He's always checking out my table, which I think is so cute. So, yeah, I was kind of showing here the way that I kind of salvaged them and put them back together. But if you want to know why they look like that, that's why. But anyway, just know that if, you know, your pearls pop off of their little adhesive backing, you put them right back on again. No big deal. So that is card number 1. I hope that you guys love that. Let me know in the comments what you think of that Halloween card. And let me know with your black and white paper, if you would just leave your backgrounds black and white, or if you would actually add pops of color in different ways. And there are so many different ways that you can add color to designer series paper. This is just 2 of the options that you can do. And I really wanted to try to focus on like the simpler options, you know, by cutting just straight, you know, pieces of cardstock and just trimming off those edges. And then of course, adding in some pops of color to this sort of plaid pattern with the Stampin' Blends. So the color that you see me adding here, just with my ruler, is Cajun Craze Dark in the Stampin' Blends. So our Stampin' Blends come in combo packs, so 2 shades in the same color. So Cajun Craze, light and dark, Pumpkin Pie, light and dark, so on and so forth. So I wanted to do the darker color here to try to have that come out a little bit more. You can see in the card on the left, the yellow is just very light, and you can see that there's a difference in the color, but it doesn't pop. So I was hoping to get it to pop here. And this is Evening Evergreen Light. Okay, so this one I thought was actually looking a little bit Christmassy, because even though Cajun Craze has that element of like burnt orange to it, it has red in it too. And here I thought it was kind of pulling a little bit red. I thought that was funny. But you can see the difference here between the Daffodil Delight and the Evening Evergreen in the plaid background versus the Cajun Craze version with the Evening Evergreen. And so I decided to change up the background piece to match the Cajun Craze that I added to the plaid design. So here I'm going to cut this panel to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So again, it's going to cover the entire card front. And then our layering piece that we just drew on with the Stampin' Blends is going to be 4 by 5 1/4 as well. And then the other thing that I had people vote on in the video was if they wanted to see the gourds or if they wanted me to work with the flowers again. And they voted for the gourds. So I decided to do the same banner stamp, which says, you know, wishing you the loveliest day. And then do different versions of the cards. So I did the gourds with Occasion Craze card, and the flowers were the other card. So I am going to fussy cut a couple of the gourds out of this paper. If you don't like doing that, you certainly do not have to. You could just stamp a pumpkin, or something like that. But I think it's really fun to take these elements and these pieces from the designer series paper and turn them into embellishments. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I didn't exactly know how it was going to turn out, but what I was pointing out was that I decided to go only with the pumpkins and the gourds and to not worry about cutting out those leaves or those acorns, but you could certainly add them if you wanted to. And they had different scale size acorns, which was nice. I would have cut out the larger one and colored that one in if I was going to do that, but I decided not to do that here. And then in the end, I actually ended up not using this very large gourd because it wasn't quite fitting in with my theme, but you could certainly come up with a different layout than what I did. So let me know if you have started doing your fall crafting or not. I would love to know in the comments. Now, one thing that I am going to say here while I'm putting these cards together is that I am opening up my Hello Harvest card class. It's an online card class. And if you've never attended card classes with me before, what I do is it's 6 card kits. It is a video tutorial and an accompanying instructional PDF to show you how to make all of the cards. We're going to be using the Hello Harvest bundle. We're going to be using the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper. I'm also going to be using the Leaf and Amber Gem Combo Pack. So very similar products to the cards that I'm making tonight. But you also get about, I think it's about $22.50 in product. I can't remember the exact amount. It's not in front of me. But so you get the 6 card kits, you get the video, the PDF, and you get about $22.50 in product as well. So you're going to get some of that designer series paper, you're going to get those Leaf and Amber Gem combo packs, and then of course you'll have the instructions as to how to assemble your kits. The die cutting is done for you. All you have to do is your stamping and your gluing and your assembly. So I don't actually have the cards to show in this video, but if you are on my email list, you will see the event open up on my email list first. And I will have that event open for 10 days, but because I am going out of town, I ran out of time. So for those of you who have taken my classes, I know that you already know, what you're going to get. But if you like the cards that you see in my YouTube videos, you are certainly going to like my card classes. And if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. And as soon as I get back from my trip, I will be sure to post a more detailed information about this Hello Harvest class. But if you want to register, I will have the registration open starting tomorrow, or I should say starting today, August 5th. You guys will see this video posted on August 5th. So if you are interested in that, be sure to get signed up to my email list, and then I can go ahead and send the information to you. Or if you're already on my email list, you can look out for that invitation for the event, which will come out tomorrow. Okay, so just wanted to mention that. I'm so sorry I don't have pictures of the cards to show you now. So now you can see I have stamped Occasion Craze, those banners. I have fussy cut those out, but again, if you have the dies, you could just die cut it out. You don't have to fussy cut. I'm popping this up on dimensionals. Now I will tell you that if I had the time, I always, I don't want to go too far over in time when I'm on my lives, especially when people are watching me fussy cut. But I would have actually cut out those flowers and did a second layer. I would have popped up another layer of flowers on that card just to kind of give it a little bit more dimension. But I left it just with the one piece of designer series paper. So if you like simpler cards, flat cards, then the card that is on the right would be great. And if you do like to make them a little bit fancier or add some more layers, then consider adding a second layer of fussy cut flowers. I think that would be gorgeous. Now here is that leaf that I am adding a layer to. So I put just a little bit of gold ribbon, glued it right down, put the leaf over top. Now I'm layering on my banner, and now I'm going to arrange my gourds all around our sentiment. So our sentiment is actually the centerpiece here, and we're decorating it with all of these fall elements. And as I was kind of putting the layout of the card together, I just thought that that one gourd just kind of didn't go. I just felt like it was too big. So I didn't want to take away from the banner and the leaf in the center. So I decided I would glue that to the inside of the card, which is what I ended up doing. Now here are those amber gems, and I was just saying there are options there. So we're going to do the amber gems on the card that I'm working on now, the Cajun Craze card. And then on the other card, I decided to use the gold pearls from Festive Pearls. So definitely up to you, but it just adds that little bit of sparkle to those fall cards. And I just love how they turned out. I just thought that that was so cool. And we really do get to show off that designer series paper, you know, just by adding in those elements of color. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video and let me know in the comments, have you started your fall crafting? Do you make Halloween projects, or do you skip straight ahead to Thanksgiving? And, you know, just depending on what the answer is, that will dictate what I do with my next video. So let me know. And if you're interested in signing up for that Hello Harvest card class, the information will be released on August 5th on my email list. I will also have information on my blog, stampingwithhart.blogspot.com.